Taurus, welcome to your monthly horoscope for April 2026. My name's Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer. Taurus, this is a month of closure, healing, preparation, and major internal shifts before a powerful new beginning that begins to unfold for you starting next month and into the rest of 2026. There is a strong focus on your 12th house, 11th house, and your first house, which means we are talking about the past, healing, closure, your future, your goals, your identity, and a brand new personal cycle beginning. This month is a bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. So, as we go through April, I want you to think about this month as a transition month. Not everything is fully clear yet, but things are moving, things are shifting, and things are aligning behind the scenes in a very powerful way. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you align with my energy and enjoy my content, let's get into this month. So I do break these horoscopes down by week and select a chart for each week to give you a bit of a visual. So the first week of April, on the 1st, we have the full moon in Libra. Then on the 3rd, we have Mercury forming a trine to Jupiter. This is the final trine between Mercury and Jupiter because of that Mercury retrograde. We also have Venus forming a square to Pluto. On the 5th, we have the Sun squaring Jupiter. And on the 6th, we have Venus forming a sextile to the North Node and forming a trine to the South Node. So let's break this down. So on the 1st, we have the full moon in Libra, which is highlighting your 6th house. And this is a major completion point connected to work, daily routines, health, responsibilities, time management, your work environment, coworkers, your habits. A full moon brings a culmination, a realization, or something coming to completion. This can look like maybe leaving a job or changing your schedule, changing your routine, realizing that you are overworking and you need to create balance. There could be some health realizations at this time. You could be deciding to take better care of yourself or changing how you manage your time and manage your energy. Libra is about balance. So this full moon is asking you, where is your life out of balance and what needs to change so that you can create a daily life that actually supports you. This is a very important full moon because it is helping you restructure your daily life so that it supports the future you are trying to build. So, Taurus, at the time of this full moon, you may decide to adjust your routines, prioritize your health, or create better work life balance. You may even be releasing habits that are draining you at this time or ending commitments that are no longer aligned. If you want to take a deeper dive into the full moon, I do have a separate forecast on my YouTube channel. You can check that out. I go into the chart for the full moon and also all 12 rising signs. Now, on April 3rd, we have Mercury forming a trine to Jupiter. And so Mercury is in your 11th house and Jupiter is in your 3rd house. This is very positive for good news, communication, contracts, writing, teaching, learning, social media, networking. This is also really positive and nice for friendships and anything that has to do with social circles, groups, associations you're connected to. This could also be you planning for your future. This could be really great for ideas, inspiration, creativity. But this trine is the final trine between Mercury and Jupiter. So something is now becoming clear. There's something you've been sitting with for a couple of months. This isn't necessarily something new that is showing up. There's something you've been contemplating, something you've been sitting with really since February. And now you're starting to gain clarity, you're starting to gain an understanding, and you're starting to make a decision with something. Now, we also have on the same day Venus forming a square to Pluto. And this is happening between your first house and your 10th house. Your first house is you, your identity, and your 10th house is your career, your public reputation, what you are known for out in the world. This transit can bring power struggles or pressure within your career. There could be relationship tension or intense emotion surfacing at this time. Pluto is the co-ruler of your 7th house of relationships as well. And so not only is this showing up in your career and with you, but it could also be having to do with a relationship. And so this is a day to be cautious. Again, there could be power struggles with a partner, intense situations within a relationship dynamic. The best way to navigate this energy is to not engage in any power struggles, set boundaries, stand in your worth, do not try to control any outcomes, make empowered decisions and not fear based decisions, and stand in your power, know your worth. And then once we get to April 5th, we have the sun in Aries forming a square to Jupiter. So this is between your third house and your 12th house. This can feel like overthinking. You could experience some anxiety on this day. You have too many thoughts, too many ideas. This could be mental overwhelm. You may be feeling mentally scattered or feeling tired and needing some rest because that third house rules your mind or how you're communicating, how you're thinking, how you're processing information. The square to your 12th house is something going on behind the scenes or mental health. Also, the sun rules your fourth house of home and family, property, your emotional foundation. So there could also be some tension in that area of life as well. Something you're having to navigate maybe at home or with a family member, or something that you're really having to deal with on a deep emotional level. So, the best way to navigate this energy, Taurus, I would say just rest, journal, meditate. Don't overcommit yourself to obligations. Do not say yes to everything and give yourself some quiet time on this day. Then we get to April 6th and we have Venus forming a sextile to the north node and a trine to the south node. This is a very faded feeling. This is a very faded and karmic energy. Venus is in your first house. Venus is also your chart ruler. So this has to do with your life direction, something you're moving into. Whatever you've been navigating the last year around your fifth house of children, creativity, passion, romance, hobbies, interests, and your 11th house of friendships and social circles, your goals, your life aspirations, there's some big decision you may be making on this day or something coming to your awareness. You may be letting go of something. And again, it's not necessarily like it's not a negative energy. There could be an opportunity showing up because sextiles bring opportunities where you have to take action towards something. This could even have to do with like social media marketing or an online business, something you're doing out like with a public audience too, and you're having to maybe release something in this area or you're letting something go or something is changing in this area so that you can move forward in this area of life. You may even meet somebody really important or you may have an important conversation. So this is a good day to pay attention to who you're meeting, pay attention to your conversations, pay attention to any opportunities that are coming your way because something that is showing up on this day is very faded, very karmic, and is a part of this new direction you're moving into. Then we get to the second week of April. And on the April 9th, we have Mercury finally leaving shadow, which means we're finally done with that Mercury retrograde energy that we've been in for a couple months now. We also have Mars entering Aries. On the 13th, we have a Mars Neptune conjunction. And then on the 14th, we have Mercury entering Aries. So this week is very significant because we have a lot happening in your 12th house. And this is what's going on behind the scenes. So Mercury leaving shadow is where things finally start to make sense. Whatever we've been sitting with for 2 months now, we finally gain clarity. We finally gain understanding. We finally have direction with whatever we've been sitting with for 2 months. This can have to do with friendships, goals, plans, social media, communication, contracts, traveling, or even learning something new. This is where there finally is forward movement. And then Mars entering Aries, which is your 12th house. Mars is action, energy, and motivation, but the 12th house rules endings, the subconscious, what's going on behind the scenes. So this can look like working more in private, doing more behind the scenes, healing in private. You could have some secret projects going on. You may even feel more tired during this transit because Mars is your motivation and the 12th house tends to suppress energy. And so, with Mars sometimes in the 12th house, you have to give yourself that extra push to get going. You may need more sleep. I would definitely even pay attention to your dreams. When you have a lot of energy in the 12th house, you can have a lot of interesting dreams. I would even be journaling your dreams down at this time. They could be very important. We want to remember that when the planets enter our 12th house, something's closing out because once the planets enter our first house, it's like a new beginning, a new start, a new cycle. So there could be also things that you're closing out, that you're finalizing, so that in a month or two, you begin this brand new cycle. You start moving in a new direction. And then on April 13th, we have the conjunction between Mars and Neptune. This is actually for you, Taurus, a very spiritual transit because it's in that 12th house. And Neptune's intuition, spirituality, mysticism, already in the 12th house. And so this could be a very spiritual day, a very intuitive day. This can bring very vivid dreams, enhance your intuition. This can also be some type of an emotional release. This could be big for healing. This can also bring confusion with direction or making a decision with something on this day. Like Neptune can sometimes blur boundaries and make things a bit confusing. So, this is a day where you're not quite clear on decisions that need to be made or direction. You could feel even more so unmotivated. So, this is a day where if you are feeling that way, just rest. This is a day to just take it easy. It's not a day to force anything. And also, too, I just want to mention Mars is the co-ruler of your seventh house. So it could also be a day where you're confused about a relationship or a partnership, too, just to be a little bit aware of. But if you are feeling kind of down or drained on this day, it's just a good day to meditate, a good day to rest. Then on the 14th, Mercury is going to enter Aries. So Mercury is going to enter your 12th house. So this is when you may be thinking about the past. You could be doing a lot of reflecting, you could be doing a lot of planning behind the scenes. You're working on a lot more in private. You're more private at this time. You're doing more. There's a lot of 12th house energy here. So there's a lot that you're sitting with, you're contemplating, you're healing. You can also be processing endings that need to happen too in certain areas of your life. Mercury rules your second house of money, finances, and material possessions. So it could be closing out something around your finances. It could be changing something about your personal values, your self-worth. You could be healing something about your self-worth too during this transit. Mercury also rules your fifth house and that south node. And so this could also be when you're finally closing something out in this area of life as well. The fifth house rules children, creativity, passion, romance, hobbies, interests, what you do for fun, what lights you up. So there I also find too sometimes the fifth house is also, we want to remember, kind of tied into addictions. Like addiction is, yeah, like 12th and mainly 12th house. But the fifth house is what you enjoy doing. And so if you enjoy gambling, and obviously I'm not talking about all you Taurus, but I'm just saying, I'm using it as an example. If you gamble, that's what you do for fun. That's going to be in the fifth house. And so for some Taurus risings, there's a lot of releasing that, letting go of those aspects of yourself with the South Node transiting here over the last year. This is when that forward movement can finally take place, or when you finally decide to let that go so you can have that forward movement. Again, I'm not speaking to all of you. This is only going to be a select few of Taurus risings. And then we get to the third week, and on the 16th, we have the Sun forming a conjunction to Chiron. We have Mercury forming a conjunction to Neptune. On the 17th, we have the new moon in Aries. On the 19th, we have the Sun entering Taurus, your sign. Then we have Mars forming a conjunction to Saturn. And on the 20th, we have Mercury forming a conjunction to Mars. And so as we get to the end of this month, Taurus, as the planets start to shift into the first house, you start to gain your energy back. You start to feel a bit better. You're not doing so much behind the scenes. And so the sun forming a conjunction to Chiron in the 12th house, this is really deep for healing. This could be healing old wounds. This could be healing old memories that are coming up at this time. You may be thinking about the past, or you may be releasing something. You may be forgiving someone, or you may be forgiving yourself for something. Chiron is where we heal and where we become wise. Chiron is the wounded healer. So on this day, there could be something that you are processing, releasing, and healing from. And then Mercury forming a conjunction to Neptune is really big for intuition. This is really big for your intuitive downloads. This is very intuitive energy. However, where this can get a little bit confusing is it's going to be really hard to make decisions. It's going to be really hard to process information. Like Neptune blurs boundaries. Neptune makes things very confusing, and Mercury is your mind, your mindset, how you communicate. So this is where there could just be, I would say, don't make any big decisions on this day. If you're feeling a lot of brain fog, just take it easy. Wait till the next day. Wait till Mercury passes to make those decisions. Also, to Mercury ruling your second house, there could be something showing up around finances that is confusing or that you're not understanding. All right. And then on the 17th, we have the new moon in Aries at 27 degrees. And so this new moon is in your 12th house. And this is a closure new moon. This is not necessarily a new moon for beginnings. This is about ending cycles, releasing the past, letting go, healing, preparing for your birth season, preparing for your new identity, your new chapter once the sun enters your first house. And then you have your new moon in Taurus next month. So this is about closings. It's about finalizing something, completing something, letting something go. It is a powerful new moon for journaling and spiritual work and releasing habits, releasing people in your life that are no longer aligned, releasing fears and releasing old identities to step into that new one. And then on the 19th, we have the sun entering Taurus, your sign. This is when you finally start to gain your momentum. This is a very important transit for you because the sun entering your first house begins your new personal year. This is your reset. This is your new cycle. This is your new identity starting to emerge. But also on the same day, we have Mars forming a conjunction to Saturn, and this is in your 12th house. So this can feel quite heavy. This could feel like too much responsibility or pressure, fatigue, or something having to end, like you're being pushed to stop something, pushed to end something. This could be dealing with a lot behind the scenes. This could also be you having to let go of something that has been really draining or really heavy. Mars conjunct Saturn is about discipline, endings, commitment, and long term decisions. And so something is ending so something new can begin. Just keep that in mind. And then on the 20th, we have Mercury forming a conjunction to Mars, also in your 12th house. So you may be making a decision behind the scenes. You may be having a serious conversation behind the scenes. This could be mental overload, like your mind is racing, overthinking, because the 12th house is mental health too. So just be a little bit cautious on this day with Mercury and the Mars conjunction. If you're overthinking, just take it easy depending on how this is affecting you. This could be a time where you finally want to make a decision with something, but because it's the 12th house, it could also be a time where you're very overwhelmed. It's like mental overload. And then we get to the fourth week. And on the 23rd, we have Venus conjunct Uranus. And then on the 23rd, 24th, we have Venus entering Gemini. And I put that because Venus, where I'm at, my location, Venus literally enters Gemini at midnight. So depending on your time zone, it's going to be the 23rd or the 24th. Then on the 25th, we have Uranus entering Gemini. This is a big transit. We also have the Sun square Pluto. On the 26th, we have Mercury square Jupiter and Venus sextile Neptune. On the 28th, we have a Venus trine to Pluto. And then on the 29th, we close the month off with a T square from Venus to the lunar nodes. So let's get into this. Starting on the 23rd, we have this conjunction between Venus and Uranus. This is still when Uranus is in your first house. I know this chart I wanted to have Uranus in Gemini, but at this point, Uranus is still going to be in your first house. And again, Venus is your chart ruler. This is happening in the first house. And so this can be unexpected change connected to your identity, your appearance, your personal life, possibly your relationships, your money, and your values. This could be very enlightening. This could be an awakening, or it could be something coming in very sudden, very unexpected. You may just all of a sudden feel like changing your appearance in some way or changing your direction, making a spontaneous decision. This could be when you have some financial change or you feel ready to finally step into a new version of yourself. And then on the 23rd or the 24th, Venus is going to enter Gemini. This is your second house of money, income, and self-worth. And so this is really good for making money, new income streams, selling, marketing, social media income, multiple income streams. This is a lot of focus on your income and your money and even your self-values. This could be when maybe you learn new skills or new ways to make some money. This is bringing more focus to your money, your income, how you're managing your money, your relationship to money, also your material possessions, and also your self worth. And then we get to the 25th, and Uranus enters Gemini. This is really big. Uranus is one of the outer planets. And so it takes Uranus about 8 years to transit a sign. I will be making a separate forecast also going really deep into this energy with Uranus and Gemini. But with Uranus, it's not sudden change, it's gradual change. And so Uranus is going to be changing your second house of income and bringing in new ways to make money, bringing in unpredictable income. There can be freedom from old financial situation, new skills, new values, something changing around your self-worth. This area of life is going to be going through change over the next decade. So again, it's gradual change. Uranus is going to completely awaken this area of life and change how you make money and your relationship to money, and also change the value that you place upon yourself. Now, also on the 25th, we have the Sun square Pluto. So the Sun is going to be in your first house, squaring Pluto in your 10th house of career and public reputation. And so this can bring in a decision that needs to be made or tension around your career, your life direction, your future, your identity. This could even bring in some power and control dynamics with your career, or even something that has to do with home, family, property, and real estate, because the Sun rules your fourth house. The fourth house is also your deep emotional foundation. So there could even be something really intense that you're dealing with on that level. But this could be some type of a turning point or having to make a decision based on tension. And then on the 26th, we have Mercury square Jupiter and Venus sextile Neptune. So this is when you want to watch your spending. Venus is in your second house. And then on the 26th, we have Mercury square Jupiter and Venus sextile Neptune. And so Mercury is in your 12th house, squaring Jupiter in your third. So this is where you do really want to watch your spending, because Mercury is the ruler of your second house. So this is where you can spend too much. You get in way over your head. Maybe you're doing online shopping and you spend way more than you planned on. So this is a day to watch your spending for sure, because Jupiter expands, Jupiter brings everything in a big way. So just be a little bit cautious of that. And then Venus sextile Neptune, this can be really great for creativity, spirituality, love, compassion, art, music, healing. This could be a really intuitive day for you because Venus is your chart ruler connecting to Neptune. So there could be something coming in around intuitive downloads or epiphanies, or even some really nice opportunities coming in for you on this day. And then on the 28th, we have Venus trine Pluto, and Venus is going to form a trine to Pluto up here in your 10th house of career. This could be really powerful for money, business, investments. You could be developing a lot of powerful connections at this time. This could be deep for relationships and relationship conversations. This could be really deep and transformational for relationships, because Venus is your chart ruler and Pluto is the co-ruler of your seventh house. So there could be something really powerful going on with a personal connection at this time as well. And then on the 29th, Venus is forming a T square to the lunar nodes. And Venus is your chart ruler. So this is literally a fork in the road. This is a choice that needs to be made based on tension. This is something very fated, very karmic. This could have to do with relationship decisions. This could have to do with whatever you've been navigating over the last year around those fifth house and 11th house themes and topics. This could also be you having to make a very important decision based on a new future path, or your path forward with something that's very fated, very karmic. This can literally be a turning point decision. All right, Taurus, this month is not a small month for you. This is a transition month between your old life and your new life. This month is asking you to release the past, heal, rest, prepare, make decisions, change your routines, change your identity, change how you make money, and step into a new version of yourself. April is the month where the old chapter closes and the new chapter begins. And by the time we move into May and June, you are going to see very clearly why everything that is happening now is happening. Trust the process, focus on your health, focus on your healing, focus on your future, and most importantly, focus on becoming the version of yourself that your future requires you to be. Thank you so much for joining me. Taurus, if you would like to order a one-on-one pre-recorded reading, I structure the readings just like I structure my YouTube videos, only it's your chart here. And I walk you through, depending on what you book, whether it's a birth chart masterclass or solar return, lunar return, and I'm walking you through your energy, your chart. So not only is it a reading, but it is a teaching tool that you can learn from and keep forever. So I will have all that information in the description below if you want to order a pre-recorded reading. You can also join me on Patreon and join the Cosmic Circle, where I have exclusive podcast episodes and PDF files and support on my Patreon. I do monthly lives and there's also exclusive content. And speaking of the podcast, I have a new podcast out, Adina's Diary. It's been out since February, so about a month. It's on YouTube. You could check it out. It's also on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and Podbean. I have exclusive episodes on Patreon. I will also have the link to that in the description below. The podcast is about healing from narcissistic abuse. So I do talk about astrology. I kind of bring astrology into the mix and transits that I was going through at that time when certain things happened. But I talk about my story and I am creating a space for others that have gone through similar experiences. Because if you've gone through something like that, it's kind of a very lonely experience and you don't have a lot of support. So I made it my mission to create a space for others. So thank you, Taurus, so much for joining me. All the information for all of that is in the description below if you choose to check any of that out. I hope you have a fabulous month. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you align with my energy and enjoy my content. And I will connect with you in the next one.